The internet is on fire right now, and this time it's not just another celebrity rumor. It's a full-blown Hollywood storm that people cannot ignore. Because what started as whispers about Wendy Williams' shocking exit from daytime TV has now exploded into something much bigger, and Oprah Winfrey is right at the center of it. According to viral discussions and resurfaced claims, Taraji P. Henson has allegedly revealed disturbing details about what really went on behind the scenes when Wendy was replaced. And the moment Oprah's name entered the conversation, everything changed. Social media instantly split into chaos, fans defending her, others calling her out, and everyone demanding answers that no one seems willing to fully give. But here's where it gets even more intense. People are now going back years, digging up old interviews, past feuds, emotional on-air moments, and industry whispers that were once dismissed as just gossip. And suddenly, nothing feels like coincidence anymore. Wendy's long history of speaking out, Oprah's powerful influence in daytime TV, Sherri Shepherd stepping into Wendy's seat, Taraji's recent emotional Hollywood revelations. Everything is being connected in real time by millions of viewers online. And the most shocking part? Wendy Williams herself was never afraid to challenge Oprah directly when almost nobody else would. That history alone is now being re-examined under a completely different light, especially as fans start asking whether Wendy was simply replaced or pushed out of a system she refused to stay silent about. Now the question hanging over all of Hollywood is simple but explosive. Was this just a career transition, or something far deeper happening behind the scenes of daytime television? Wendy Williams didn't just lose a TV show. According to the internet narrative exploding right now, she lost a whole throne in daytime television. And once people start connecting the dots being thrown around online, the story stops looking like a simple career change and starts looking like something much more calculated. Because right after Wendy stepped away from her show, Sherri Shepherd stepped in. At the time, it was framed as a smooth transition, a necessary move due to Wendy's health struggles and production challenges. But now, in hindsight, social media users are re-examining every detail of that shift like it's a crime scene timeline. Who made the decision? Who influenced it? And why did it feel so fast and so final? That's where Oprah Winfrey's name gets pulled into the storm. Now, to be clear, there is no confirmed evidence tying Oprah directly to Wendy's exit in any official capacity. But in the world of celebrity culture, perception often moves faster than facts. And once Taraji P. Henson's name started getting attached to behind-the-scenes Hollywood conversations, the narrative shifted again. Suddenly, people weren't just talking about Wendy, they were talking about power, influence, and who really controls the entertainment industry behind closed doors. Old interviews resurfaced. Clips of Wendy Williams criticizing Oprah's influence started circulating again. People began revisiting moments where Wendy openly questioned Hollywood's inner circles, including powerful friendships, media control, and industry favoritism. At the time, many dismissed those comments as shock value entertainment. But now, those same moments are being reinterpreted as warnings people didn't take seriously enough. And that's what makes this situation so volatile online. Because once you remove the timeline and just look at the pattern people are describing, a narrative starts forming whether it's true or not. Wendy speaks out. Wendy gets pushed out. A new host steps in. Oprah publicly supports the replacement. Taraji later speaks about unfair treatment in Hollywood. And suddenly, all of it gets bundled together into one massive question about control and consequence in the entertainment industry. But the internet doesn't stop there. Fans also bring up Wendy's long history of being unfiltered about celebrities, something that made her both wildly successful and deeply controversial. She built her entire brand on saying what others wouldn't say, regardless of backlash. And in that process, she made powerful enemies, at least according to long-standing rumors that have followed her career for years. Now those old rumors are being reinterpreted through a much darker lens. People are asking whether Wendy's downfall was purely health-related and professional, or whether she simply became too unpredictable for a system that values control above everything else. In that theory, her replacement wasn't just about filling a seat. It was about stabilizing a brand, a network, and an image that could no longer afford chaos. And that's where Oprah's presence in this conversation becomes even more controversial online. Supporters argue she's simply a media mogul who supports talent and industry transitions. Critics, however, claim she represents a gatekeeping structure that decides who rises and who disappears in Hollywood. Neither side can fully prove their argument, but both sides are loud and both are fueling this fire at full speed. Meanwhile, Taraji P. Henson's recent emotional discussions about pay inequality and being undervalued in Hollywood have only added more fuel. While she never directly accused Oprah in relation to Wendy's situation, online audiences rarely wait for direct confirmation. Instead, they connect emotional dots, industry history, and timing, and build their own narrative from it. And that narrative is spreading fast. Because at its core, this isn't just about Wendy Williams anymore. It's about something bigger that fans believe has always existed in entertainment, a hidden system where decisions are made behind closed doors and the public only sees the final result. Whether that belief is accurate or not is still up for debate. But what cannot be denied is the intensity of the conversation now surrounding it. Every resurfaced clip, every old interview, and every past controversy is being re-examined under a microscope. And as more voices join the discussion, the story only becomes more complicated. Because in Hollywood, truth and perception often blur together, and once they do, separating them becomes almost impossible. As the online debate continues to escalate, the story surrounding Wendy Williams, Oprah Winfrey, and Taraji P. Henson has now reached a point where speculation is moving faster than facts. And at the center of it all is a growing question that refuses to die down. Was Wendy Williams simply the victim of circumstance, or was she removed from a system she had spent years openly challenging? From one angle, the situation looks straightforward. Wendy's health struggles were well documented. Production challenges surrounding her show were public. And eventually, a replacement was introduced in the form of Sherri Shepherd. On paper, it looks like a standard television transition, something that happens frequently in daytime TV when a host steps away. But the internet is not treating it as standard anymore. Because once viewers began revisiting old footage, interviews, and industry relationships, the narrative started shifting. People began pointing to Wendy's long history of calling out powerful figures in entertainment, often without hesitation. That included her criticism of media influence, celebrity culture, and what she perceived as hidden power structures in Hollywood. At the time, those comments were often dismissed as entertainment commentary. Now, they are being reevaluated with a very different tone. Adding to the tension is Oprah Winfrey's long-standing position as one of the most influential figures in media history. Her name carries weight not just as a talk show host, but as a business empire and cultural force. That influence alone is why her presence in any industry conversation immediately intensifies public reaction, even when there is no verified wrongdoing attached. And this is where the situation becomes complicated. Because while there is no confirmed evidence tying Oprah to Wendy Williams' exit, online discussions rarely operate on confirmation alone. Instead, they build narratives through patterns, timing, and association. Wendy's departure, Sherri Shepherd's arrival, Oprah's public support for industry transitions, Taraji P. Henson's emotional commentary on Hollywood inequality. Each piece becomes part of a larger puzzle in the public imagination. But a puzzle built by speculation is not the same as proven fact. Still, that hasn't slowed the conversation. If anything, it has intensified it. Social media users continued to dissect past interviews where Wendy Williams made bold statements about Hollywood power structures. Some viewers interpret those moments as evidence of a deeper conflict within the industry. Others see them as part of Wendy's signature outspoken media persona, designed for shock value and entertainment rather than insider truth. The truth likely sits somewhere more complex, but complexity rarely survives online discourse. At the same time, Taraji P. Henson's recent discussions about being undervalued in Hollywood have resonated deeply with audiences. Her emotional openness about pay disparity and industry treatment has reignited broader conversations about how talent is compensated and respected behind the scenes. Even though she did not directly accuse Oprah in relation to Wendy Williams, The overlap in names and timing has fueled additional speculation. And once speculation takes hold in celebrity culture, it tends to expand rather than shrink. What makes this situation particularly volatile is the emotional connection fans have with all three figures. Wendy Williams represents unfiltered media honesty for many viewers. Oprah Winfrey represents success, influence, and media authority. Taraji P. Henson represents talent, struggle, and perseverance in Hollywood. When those identities collide in online discussion, the result is not just gossip, it becomes a cultural argument about power and fairness in entertainment. But beneath all the noise, there are still core facts that remain unchanged. Wendy Williams did step away from her show under documented circumstances involving health and production concerns. Sherri Shepherd did take over the time slot as part of a network decision. Oprah Winfrey has not been officially linked to any wrongdoing in that transition. And Taraji P. Henson's public statements have focused on her own experiences in Hollywood, not on orchestrating industry replacements. Those facts exist regardless of how loud the online theories become. However, what cannot be ignored is how quickly narratives can evolve in the digital age. A single resurfaced clip can reignite years of speculation. A single emotional interview can shift public perception. And once a narrative gains traction, it often begins to operate independently of the original context. That is exactly what is happening here. For some, this is a story about hidden industry control. For others, it is a case of media personalities being pulled into unrelated narratives due to their fame and influence. And for many observers, it is simply another example of how quickly celebrity culture can spiral into conspiracy-style storytelling without concrete evidence. But regardless of which side people fall on, one thing is clear: the conversation is not slowing down. Every new post, every old interview clip, and every resurfaced controversy continues to add fuel to a fire that is now largely driven by audience interpretation rather than verified reporting. And as long as those interpretations continue to circulate, the names involved will remain tied to a story that is still being written in real time by the internet itself. In the end, the biggest takeaway may not be about Wendy Williams, Oprah Winfrey, or Taraji P. Henson individually. It may be about how modern media culture turns incomplete information into full narratives, and how quickly those narratives can take on a life of their own. Because once the internet decides there is a story, the truth often has to fight to be heard above everything else. Continuing directly from where the tension in this unfolding narrative left off, the conversation online has now reached a point where every detail is being reinterpreted, every past clip is being rewatched, and every public statement is being reevaluated through a completely new lens. And at the center of it all remains a story that has grown far beyond its original scope. Because what started as discussions about Wendy Williams stepping away from daytime television has now transformed into a wider debate about Taraji P. Henson's emotional conversations about Hollywood treatment and pay inequality added another layer to this already complex narrative. Her openness about struggling within the industry resonated with many viewers, especially those who have long felt that entertainment systems are not always fair in how they distribute opportunity and compensation. But again, her statements were about her personal experience, not direct confirmation of the theories being built around Wendy Williams' situation. Yet in online spaces, separate conversations often merge into one continuous storyline, whether they are directly connected or not. That merging effect is exactly what is happening here. Old Wendy Williams interviews are resurfacing and being placed alongside newer interviews from other celebrities. Past industry disputes are being grouped together under one umbrella of Hollywood power dynamics. And individual career decisions are being analyzed as if they were all part of a coordinated structure, even though no official evidence supports that conclusion. This is where the gap between public interpretation and confirmed reality becomes most visible. On one side, there are viewers connecting patterns and seeing a hidden system behind entertainment decisions. On the other side, there are observers pointing out that correlation is not causation and that entertainment industries are complex systems influenced by many independent factors, including health, contracts, ratings, and business strategy. Both perspectives are active online, but neither has been definitively proven in relation to the specific claims being discussed. Meanwhile, Sherri Shepherd's transition into Wendy Williams' former time slot is also being re-examined, not because of anything she has done wrong, but because her role has become symbolically tied to the broader narrative. In reality, television replacements are common in daytime media when hosts step away for health or contractual reasons. However, symbolic interpretation online often assigns deeper meaning to those transitions than the official explanations provide. As a result, what should be a straightforward industry shift has become part of a much larger cultural debate. And that debate continues to evolve. Every new resurfaced clip adds more context in the eyes of viewers. Every old interview adds another angle to the discussion. Every public statement from any involved celebrity gets filtered through an increasingly complex narrative structure built by online communities. But despite all the interpretation, one thing remains consistent. There is still no verified evidence confirming the more extreme claims being circulated. What exists instead is a blend of memory, media clips, emotional reactions, and public speculation. And that blend is powerful enough to keep the conversation alive indefinitely. Because in the modern entertainment landscape, stories do not always end when the facts are stated. Sometimes they continue long after, shaped by audience perception, online discussion, and cultural curiosity. And that is exactly what is happening here. The story of Wendy Williams, Oprah Winfrey, and Taraji P. Henson has now moved beyond a single event or a single explanation. It has become a reflection of how audiences interpret fame, power, and silence in an era where every past moment can resurface and be redefined at any time. And as long as those interpretations continue to circulate, this conversation will remain open, constantly evolving, constantly debated, and constantly rewritten by the audience watching it unfold. Before we wrap this up, one thing is clear: this story is far from settled, and every new detail, old clip, or resurfaced interview is only making the conversation louder, not quieter. What started as a simple discussion around Wendy Williams' exit has now turned into a full-blown debate about power, influence, and what really goes on behind the curtain in Hollywood. And that's exactly why your opinion matters in all of this. Because stories like this don't end when the headlines fade, they continue through the audience, through the comments, through the discussions people have after watching. Some of you will see this as nothing more than speculation and internet noise. Others will feel there's more beneath the surface that still hasn't been fully explained. And both perspectives are part of what keeps this conversation alive. So now the question is simple. What do you think is really going on here? Do you believe Wendy Williams' exit was just a straightforward career and health decision? Or do you think there's a deeper industry story that people are only now starting to question out loud? And where do you stand on the role of powerful figures like Oprah in situations like this? Influence, coincidence, or something else entirely?